the Sony FX6 and the RED Komodo X. Two cameras I use all the time, but often in quite different situations and with quite different motives. I've had the FX6 for quite a while, probably since it came out pretty much in the UK. It's basically paid for itself 10 times over. It's a total workhorse. The Komodo X is a more recent addition to me, and I didn't really buy it to replace the FX6. It was more to develop as a filmmaker and to solve a different kind of shooting problem. So this isn't really a which is better video. It's more about why I use both, what they're good at, and where one falls down over the other, and what each of their strengths are. A quick aside from slightly in the future me, just to say that this video is meant to be a reasonably brief sort of overview of the two camera systems. Nothing too in-depth. I might do a long-term review of each of them, particularly the FX6, which I've owned for quite a long time now. But yeah, this is just the abstract, designed to give you a reasonably quick reference in case you're considering one camera over the other, and just to add my experience to that research you might be doing. Anyway, back to the video. Thank you. First off, I'm well aware how privileged I am, being able to both own and justify owning both of these cameras. Each is incredible, and every now and then it does me well to remind myself that there are people with far more limited access to kit who will make better work than I ever make. That said, let's get stuck in. Let's start with the FX6. This has been my workhorse for a number of years. It's got internal NDs, autofocus, proper audio inputs. You can grab it, shoot with it, hand over the footage, done. It's perfect for documentary style shooting, run and gun, talking heads, branded content, gimbal work if that's your thing. Well, I'll admit it's not really mine. Anything where speed and more importantly reliability matter. The Komodo X on the other hand is a very different beast. It's slower to operate, it requires more rigging, it's more demanding to operate, but when you've got the time and when you want full control over the image, it's just the right tool for the job. The FX6 gets so much right. The built-in EVND is a complete game changer, and once you've used it, you don't really want to go back to using anything else. It feels like a big step backwards when you do. Plus, the reliable autofocus, especially with native first-party lenses, but even with third-party options from the likes of Sigma or Tamron, really means that you can do a lot with this camera as a solo operator. It's got long record times, small file sizes, S-Log3 is really versatile, doesn't overheat, doesn't crash, it just works. If that's your thing, this could be the perfect camera for you. The Komodo X though, there's just something about it. And it's a bit of a cliche to say, but you really do get that image, that look. And when you want the absolute highest quality image for the project, it's the Komodo X I reach to every time. RED's R3D RED RAW is kind of incredible to work with. It's the first time I'd worked with a RAW format, and the possibilities doing so, they've completely changed my workflow. With RED RAW, you've just got so much latitude. The color, clarity, detail, and fidelity are otherworldly, and you can really push the grade when you need to. You get super clean highlights, really soft roll-off. There's none of that digital harshness that can sometimes be the hallmark of digital video. Operating the Komodo reminds me a lot of shooting film on a medium format camera. Everything's manual, everything's intentional. It's not all about speed, it's about control and quality. And it's modular, which, I mean, to a certain extent, so is the FX6, but the Komodo is really modular, which is both a strength and can be a bit of a faff. I bought this to be a small camera, and I was getting fed up of the bulk of the FX6. And actually, by the time this is rigged for most jobs, it's the same size, if not bigger, and certainly heavier than the FX6 ever was. Another thing about the KX that might not be quite as obvious is its global shutter. That's the kind of thing that actually you don't need all the time, but when you do need it, it's a real boon. I had a quick and dirty shoot the other day and I was slightly rushed, and I grabbed the FX6 and there was a shot that needed to be filmed from a moving vehicle, and now fast forward to the edit and that rolling shutter that the FX6 has, even though it's subtle, just slightly, if you know what you're looking for, spoils the shot. So yeah, global shutter on the KX, subtle but genuinely useful. One thing I find is a little bit overlooked in conversations around these cameras is stabilisation. The FX6 records gyro data internally, and when paired with Catalyst Browse, you can stabilise handheld footage to near gimbal smooth levels. That's one of the reasons I don't bother with gimbal. The workflow isn't exactly elegant. You have to import your footage into Catalyst Browse, analyse it, stabilise it, export it, and then import it into your NLE, which in my case is Final Cut. In the unlikely event anyone from Sony or Apple is listening, a decent Catalyst Browse plugin for Final Cut would be incredible. So yeah, the workflow's clunky as hell, but the results are unreal. The Komodo X also records gyro data, but it's a bit of a different story. To use it, the workflow has to go through Gyro, which is an open source, powerful plugin, but compared to Catalyst Browse, it's a bit of a mess. Catalyst feels like DaVinci Resolve next to Gyroflow's command line energy. Don't get me wrong, you can get some really good results with it, but like everything to do with the Komodo X, it does take a bit more effort, and it's a bit more involved. And it actually makes the FX6 gyro stabilizing workflow look pretty streamlined. One challenge with the Komodo is that it absolutely eats through V-Lock batteries. I tend to run it on 150 watt-hour batteries, and I get through 3, 4, sometimes 5 in a shoot day. It's made me familiar with the phrase range anxiety. Also, the boot time's kind of slow, so you're not really inclined to turn it off and on between shots. You tend to just leave it on, so that definitely doesn't help. But it's not a power efficient camera, and I don't really think it's trying to be. On top of that, no built-in ND. Native audio is fine. You have to extension out of it. R3D files are big. We'll talk about storage on another episode, but my home storage setup has had to expand precipitously to accommodate these new raw file sizes. And in a lot of ways, it's not a grab and go camera in the same way the FX6 is. It's a rig it, power it again, plan around it kind of camera.
Hi, Future Jack again. I realise I haven't actually spoken about pricing on these cameras, which if you're anything like me is normally a pretty critical component in how you select gear. I bought the FX6 early on in its product life cycle, and I think it was about £6,000. I bought it in the UK. And then as now, that seems like a pretty good value proposition. I actually bought the Komodo X along with a few accessories for it before the big Komodo price cut. And even at the time, it was quite a substantial investment. I think it represented good value for money. Hard to say. It's definitely a substantial investment. By the time I'd spec'd it with a DSMC3 7-inch touch monitor and a few other important accessories, it was a £15,000 camera package, which, that's quite a big step up from the £6,000 of the FX6. But I think that for me and my use case, it was worth it. With the price cut that followed, that I missed out on by a few months, I think it's an exceptional value proposition. One more thing while I'm here speaking to you from the future. Sometimes if you spot me moving around a little bit, it's because I've chosen the wrong stool and I've grabbed the balance stool, and it means it's quite hard to sit still. Also, apologies, I've just been putting the edit of this video together. I noticed that I keep looking down. It's because I popped both cameras on a stool in front of me, and when I was composing my thoughts, I found myself staring at them. Watching the footage back, it's a little bit distracting seeing me constantly go like this. So apologies for that. Anyway, back to the video.
So how do I decide which camera to grab? The FX6 is built for speed. It's for reliability, it's for solo jobs, tight deadlines, unpredictable conditions. The Komodo X I use when I want to slow things down a bit, when I want to be deliberate and intentional, and when the image matters most. Short films, cinematic commercial work, passion projects, that's the camera I go for then. It's not really about one camera replacing the other for me. Again, like I mentioned, I'm in a fortunate position to be able to have both. But it's about having the exact right tool for the job, whatever that job might actually end up being. The FX6 gets me through the work, the Komodo X gets me excited about the work. And the more I use both, the more I appreciate the difference between them. It's worth mentioning that both cameras have really usable monitoring and control apps, perfect for lightweight rigging or remote operating, and I find myself actually using them more and more frequently, which is kind of fun. But what are you shooting on right now? What's working for you and what's not? What do you hope to be filming on in the future? Let me know in the comments, and thank you very much for watching. There'll be more videos soon.